Good morning, Beaver Valley. Before we start, some of my standard opening comments for everybody. It's up to you whether you want to wear your personal protection, mask, or socially distance. But we don't want to lose any more neighbors, so please be careful. Ask that everyone be civil. If you have a question or comment, raise your hand. If I recognize you or when I recognize you, then we'll give you a minute or two to speak. Other than that, please don't disrupt the meeting. We have a lot of work to do. There will be time for member comments later, but when we're discussing any individual items, if you raise your hand, we will try to address things. If there are any major outbursts, disruptions, or ugliness, we will ask those responsible to settle down. If they can't be, we will ask them to leave. So, are there any new neighbors here? Welcome.
Thank you.
Want to tell us who you are?
We're the Sherwood family. We moved here in December from San Diego. We're here. Al, Joni, my husband Wesley, and I'm Liz.
Welcome.
This is our guest from Montana.
Hi.
It's Sandy, your dog Sandy.
What unit are you in?
We are on Buckskin on 176.
Okay.
Oh, unit 2.
Okay.
Dwayne's old house. Dwayne's old house.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. You guys want the microphone?
No, sorry.
Okay. I think we have a quorum. Everybody's here, full board. The minutes of the last regular meeting, March, have been posted for quite a while. Rather than spending a lot of time on it, if someone has a question, we can certainly address it. Other than that, I would look for a motion to approve those minutes.
I have a question.
Okay?
Section 5, minutes of 2020 annual meeting. You asked if there could be a revision to reflect that I recommended that the board.
That's the annual meeting. Right now, we're on March.
Well, I know, but you said to make a revision to the 2020 annual meeting in the last meeting.
Okay?
This is, you can read the minutes yourself. This is what he put out. But it was not at the annual meeting where I recommended that. And that's what you wanted to clarify.
The annual meeting was actually held in June last year. If you go back and look at,
I did. I watched the whole video. You're welcome to watch it yourself. I did not recommend it at that meeting.
okay,
So I want that struck.
which meeting did you recommend it at, Patrick?
I don't know, you can go back and review the minutes
I looked at it.
or look at the videos.
I looked
They're
at
on the
the video.
BVH Alliance website, and you can view them all.
I did view that one, and
And?
it was at that meeting, because that was when we discussed the need for volunteers, people not wanting to run, and that was when you recommended that we look at hiring a management company.
At the annual meeting last year, I recommended that we not wait a year to review the minutes. We wait till the next month.
You did recommend that as well.
That was the only recommendation I made.
Okay. I'll check it.
Okay. And also, on, let me find it here. Yeah, the next to the last paragraph of the minutes. Member Bob Guan expressed concern about the comments that the Beaver Valley Homeowners Alliance could not directly make recommendations on behalf of homeowners. Will Santorum shared that he understood Bob's concern, but clarified that the BVHA as a corporate entity is not a member of BVIA, and that the board is responsible to the members of the BVIA only. I want that whole statement struck, because we're all homeowners, we're all members of Beaver Valley's Homeowners Association, and that's a false statement.
Patrick, I
Sarah?
addressed it.
Mama Bear, if you go back and listen to what she said,
Let me pull
she
up.
said ARS trumps all bylaws. So you can pull up that bylaw, section 6, and read it all you want.
Absolutely.
Arizona Revised Statute Title 33, I've got the floor, Sarah.
Okay, Patrick.
Title 33, Chapter 16, Section 1804. All meetings of the members of, I hate to read this to everybody because I posted on the video. It's quite clear. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to bother to read it. I'm not going to insult everybody. But it says right there that we all have an opportunity to voice our opinions, and if we do it through one member and give them writing and permission, they can do it. And that's what happened.
Patrick, you all have a voice as individual members, but a separate corporation, you are in violation of Article 2, Section 6.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
Patrick, you as individual members have every voice, every right, but as a.
Alliance members, you're free to speak all you want.
You are. As a separate corporation, that separate corporation is not a member.
Read it.
It is not, I've read it. You're not a member, that separate corporation is not.
I'm a member of the homeowners association here, so are they. Just because, so we can belong to other outfits. We can belong to the NRA, we can belong to Arizona Historical Society.
Absolutely, but the NRA and the Arizona Historical Society does not have a voice in our meetings. You as individual members have a voice.
And if they give me their voice in writing, then I can speak for them. And that's what happened at the last meeting. And you and Mark and Will all stood up and objected to it, and I don't appreciate it.
Patrick, you can all speak.
Since I was just singled out. Patrick, the only thing I was making an exception to is that the Beaver Valley Homeowners Alliance is not a member of the Beaver Valley Improvement Association.
No, it's not. They're their own separate entity, but they are also members of the homeowners association.
No, the Beaver
Yes,
Valley
they are.
Homeowners Alliance, what property does the Beaver Valley Homeowners Alliance own?
They each own their own individual property.
That's our point.
That's, the individuals can
So-
speak. Patrick, I'm speaking. Please let me finish.
Yeah, we've heard your comments.
We've certainly heard yours, Patrick, over and over again.
There was a lady in the back, had your hand up. I'm sorry.
This is only my second meeting, but I'm kind of appalled at what's going on. Yeah. I'm appalled at the way this board is treating everybody. And yes, I'm a member of the Alliance, and I don't know that we're any kind of a corporation. We're just a group of homeowners who don't like the way things are going around here. And I think we have the right to have a voice, and we have the right to have one person speak to us. And I don't think you can just start changing rules every time you want to change a rule, or to twist it around to make it sound like you're right. Just my opinion.
Thank you. So, following up on Patrick's comment, I went back and looked at your editorial comments on the video posted at the April meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And in there, little screenshot,
Yep,
you were, I think, quoting ASRS. is
that's
that
right. Title 33, Chapter 16, Section 1804.
So as a follow-up, it basically says, I won't read the whole thing, and neither did you at the time, but it says, any person designated by a member in writing as the member's representative, and all members or designated representatives so desiring shall be permitted to attend and speak. You remember that?
Yep.
Where are the authorizations and who are you speaking for?
You're speaking for me, I know.
I know. Where is a written,
I got it.
signed authorization?
I got an email.
I need written, signed, just what you quoted. Written, signed authorizations from each person that you're speaking for. When you provide that, then we will list everybody and say, these are the people that Patrick Jenkins is allowed to speak for. Got it?
So then
Give me-
it is allowed. So you're saying it is allowed?
If you get an authorization from Jim or anyone else, written, his signature, Patrick Jenkins can speak for me, then it's fairly straightforward. You can speak for them with their signature. Each individual, not the alliance. You can speak for each individual who gives you that signed authorization to speak for them. Got it?
So it doesn't make any difference.
Let's move on.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, also in your editorial, you claimed that we hired Brown and Hanson?
I'm sorry?
In your editorial on this same video, you claim that we hired Brown and Hanson.
Well, that was
So
the
we-
recommendation. I don't
No,
think,
it was Butler. I just want to clarify.
Oh.
It's Butler and
typo.
Hanson.
Okay.
So, back to the March meeting minutes. Looking for a motion.
March or April?
March was the last regular meeting, and that's, before all this started, I asked for a motion to approve the March meeting minutes, which was a regular meeting, not an annual.
I move to approve the March meeting.
Thank you, Gail. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Question. Why does it say Saturday, April 3rd on here when you say March?
Look right above it, Patrick. We're on the-
BVIA Annual Board Meeting Minutes, Saturday, April 3rd, 2021.
We're on number 3.
I don't see it. Number 3 says all 9 board members were present.
We're not looking at the
We're on the
minutes. We're on the
Look at the
agenda.
agenda.
Oh, I don't have an agenda.
It's one on the table over there.
I didn't see one.
Okay, minutes of the 2021 annual meeting, which was April 3rd, 2021. This has also been posted on the website. Big part of the annual meeting was discussing the vote results from the annual election. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Then we did election of officers, which is what typically happens at an annual meeting. And we moved on from there, did a treasurer's report, talked about the need for project volunteers, and some member comments. Unless someone has questions about that, I would ask for a motion to approve the annual meeting minutes.
I move that we approve those minutes.
Is there a second?
I second.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so done. Mr. Bell?
Yes, can I make a comment about the election? Is it appropriate time for that?
Sure.
Okay. I think that we all are concerned about following the law. Am I right in that assumption? ARS 33-1812-7 states that ballots shall be retained and be provided for the membership for inspection for at least a year after the election is held. ARS 33-1812-6 states that those ballots shall contain the names, addresses, and signatures of those that voted. Now, on the Monday after the meeting, I went to the office of PBS Management Company to obtain copies of those ballots which I'd been promised. And what I received was ballots with the bottom half removed, that didn't have any names, addresses, or signatures on it. And I refused them. Now, I can't believe, if it was a legitimate election, I see no reason why PBS Management Company wouldn't provide me with the ballots, with the names, addresses, and signatures on them, as dictated by law. And the only conclusion I can reach for them not providing me with these ballots with the names, addresses, and signatures intact is that this was not a legitimate election. Now, I think that it's incumbent upon you Board of Directors to provide those ballots with the names, addresses, and signatures intact as dictated by the 2 statutes which I just quoted. And I'll be glad to, I brought the copies of those, I'll be glad to circulate them among the membership, and you can verify what I'm saying is true. Do I have any comment from from the board of directors?
I'll make some comments.
Okay,
Bill, you want the mic?
No, I'm fine. I think part of the issue is, I don't think anyone has any business to know how I voted, how you voted, or anyone else. And other people have expressed that. Now, in lieu of that, what I'm willing to do is coordinate, and we can get whoever else wants to be part of it. I'm willing to have them send us a copy of the votes so that everything is intact. And at that point, I'll have someone help me number it, top and bottom of the page. We'll separate it out. At that point, then you can do a tally on it. Now, if an individual wants to know whether their vote was actually received, we can give them what that number is on that ballot, and then they can look it up. And I'll give it to each person that voted themselves on it. But as far as that, I don't believe anybody, this is, we're not a government, but the voting and a secret to vote has been around for a few hundred years here.
well, this is not what the statute states, however.
And I understand that, but I'll fight that statute as much as we have to for the sake of privacy on it. And again, it'll accomplish the same thing if you have questions on whether someone has received a vote, didn't vote, and that way it still stays a secret on it.
Dan, can I speak too? The idea of a secret ballot has been the precedence of Beaver Valley Homeowners Association for decades now. I don't know where in writing we have it. I have read all of the ARS codes that you've provided, and it does, you're correct in saying that you have access to those votes, you have access to that. We need to have it in writing, because it says that unless the board puts in writing in our documents that we have a different form of voting. And so I'm sure it's somewhere in the minutes in the last 30, 40 years that we provide for a secret ballot. I don't have the time to search through all those minutes, but we as a board are going to put it in writing, and we have that right that from here on out, we will have a secret ballot. And it'll still be very, very well audited, very well documented, but it will provide for the secrecy of our board, because we don't like anybody with an agenda to try to force, yes,
Well, I'll go along with that.
yes.
But the point is, this was not a secret ballot. Everyone from PDS viewed those ballots.
That's an
Okay.
outside
You-
independent.
I'm assuming you people, did you see the ballots?
No, that's the whole point of us hiring PDS, was that we had no hand in it. And so what Bill's suggesting is a way of maintaining that secrecy that has been precedent for 40 years, and yet still letting you assuage your concerns. I think it's a very good solution, because I know that, I can see here, and I know from other members, they don't want you to have their personal information and know whose side they're on. But we want you to not be making accusations. We want to assuage your concerns. And from here on out, we as a board will document it in writing, and we have that right as a board from here on out to say it will be a secret ballot from here on out, okay?
I don't have any problem with that. I'll go
Exactly.
along with that, okay?
Okay.
But the point is, this was not a secret ballot, so we can't do it retroactively.
So here's.
According to what the law says,
Exactly.
not just me, any member that wants to see those ballots has the right to see them.
So do you agree with Bill's solution, though, to maintain?
You can do what you want for the future, I'll go along with whatever.
But did you listen to Bill's solution? Is that?
I don't buy it for this time, not at all.
Yeah, Rick?
I'd just like to add a comment. Last year, I've just recently, as you know, I'm recently a board member, but I was not last year, and I'm a new resident, new guy all around. And I was asked to be one of the folks that counted the ballots for the 2020 election. And the process that I followed is one that was the guidance from Mark, and Bill was the other one that helped me count. And we sat in a room by ourselves. I never saw the whole part of the ballots. They were all folded over so that the counters had no idea who was, it's a simple matter. And for the life of me, I can't imagine that we wouldn't have a secret ballot. Everything else we do as Americans, we have a secret ballot, everything. And so it never occurred to me that there's some difference in an HOA election, and I don't see any need for it. And so the point is that you want to make sure that the votes are accurately tallied and that they're the real votes that the homeowners cast. I get that. And when I see the things that in this past year where, you know, PDS has been added, and now this is completely outsourced so that from any optics, you don't have to trust that I did it right. It's now impartial, third-party people that they don't have that stake in it. There's no $1 million payoff for them. And so the changes that Bill is talking about, I think, brings it up to the standard of you know, a governmental election, which isn't required, but it should be something that everybody, I know as a homeowner, I believe that it should be a secret ballot. I think it should be a valid process, absolutely. I totally, and I think everyone should believe in that process. So whatever we do to make that happen, but I don't think that a copy of full ballots with names, addresses, you know, information that people consider private and who they voted for should, once it goes to someone, how do you know that someone's not going to put it on the internet and it's all over the place? You know, I think that's wrong, and we need, like Bill said, we need to do whatever we need to do to make sure that it's fair, it's straightforward, and that it's secret.
Okay, well, let's accept his proposal and let's have him do that.
I don't, like I said, I don't have any problem for the future, but in this case, this was not a secret ballot. And we should go by what the statute says, and what two statutes that I just read, that's what the statute says.
What wasn't
And
secret
the point is that I was promised these ballots with the signatures intact, according to what the law says, by PBS. I followed those people for 2 weeks, all right? And then at the last moment when I get there, then they cut the ballots off. You know, that to me is, it doesn't ring right, you know? To me, there's nothing more important than legitimacy of the election. To me, that, when you talk about secrecy, well, that's a consideration, at least to some people. But that does not supersede the right to have an election that's true and accurate.
Yeah, can I ask you a question, Mark, man?
Sure.
What wasn't secret about it? You said this wasn't a secret ballot. PDS seeing them to tally them?
No.
Is that what you're questioning? I'm
No,
just trying to get it clear in my
I'm saying this was not
mind.
a secret ballot. That's just
What do
a
you mean?
fact.
Explain.
Help me
Alright.
understand what you
If-
mean by it not being a secret ballot. If PDS is paid to tally the ballots, and none of us or none of you saw those ballots that went to PDS, what was not secret about the ballot that you mentioned?
What-
Just help me understand.
It mentions it right in the statute that
No,
we're talking about.
I'm asking you why you're saying it wasn't a secret ballot, not what the statute says.
Because if it's a secret ballot, you have to have an envelope that you put the ballot in. That's how a secret ballot works. And we didn't have it this time.
Yeah, we
The-
did.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
we did. We all put them in our envelopes and mailed them.
And each envelope had a
No,
code.
I'm talking about the ballot itself is in a separate envelope. I've had other elections. I know what a secret ballot is. This was not a secret ballot. So we can't go backwards and say, well, this is really a secret ballot. No, it wasn't a secret
What
ballot.
wasn't secret about it, Dan? That's what I'm missing. If I'm a homeowner, which I am, and I fill out my ballot, I put it in I sign it, I mark who I'm voting for, I put it in an envelope and I put a stamp on it and I mail it to PDS. How is that not a secret ballot if PDS is being paid to tabulate those ballots? What's not secret? Help me understand.
Well, like it says right in the statute, which I'll pass
Dan,
around to everybody, okay?
Dan, I'm not talking about the statute. I'm talking about the point that you're raising is that it wasn't a secret ballot, but you're not answering the question. What was not secret about the ballots being signed and sealed and going to PDS?
So I think what Dan's trying to say, so we as a board and what we instructed PBS to do was to conduct it like a secret ballot.
As a secret.
As a secret ballot, so that there's codes, there's numbers. I know my envelope had a number. What Dan is saying is that according to the code, ARS code, that unless we have it in writing, he has access to all of that information.
Okay, I believe it is in writing
Yes.
somewhere, but whether we can dig it up. So I would ask for a motion from you right now that we reaffirm that all ballots will be secret in the future.
I put that in.
Would someone like to second that? All in favor? Aye. We're moving on.
So
How
until,
about this one, though? We're not talking about the future, we're talking about this
You can accept the offer that I think Bill has made to do a lot of work on his part, and you can sit down with him and go through them. But if you want to see what every person here's vote was, you're gonna have to take us to court.
I think we ought to show that man from the sheriff's department what the law says and see if he wants to enforce it.
By the way, welcome,
You
Deputy.
can't enforce ARS.
I'll speak real briefly to what you're talking about. There's Supreme Court rulings on public records requests that would require their information to be redacted. So what you're talking about is a law. The Supreme Court has ruled and overturned a lot of that stuff. So you need to do a lot more research before you think you can get people's private information just because the statute allows you to.
Bill, and then we're moving on. Okay, keep it short.
I just want to give an idea here. I've always assumed it would be a secret ballot. How do you feel? Do you think everything should be out to the public like that? So, you know. No. And I think we've all assumed that it would be a private and secret, except for the people that are counting the ballots. And we've gotten it away from the members. So we're working to make it as strong as we can. And again, yes, according to statutes, it probably is not per se secret. I think everybody assumed it would. So we need to keep moving on from that with this election. If you have questions on the votes, then we can have a meeting with however many people want to be there and watch what's going on. We won't rent the Coliseum in Phoenix, but we can do it here. And have everybody take a look at it. And if you, like I said, if you want to know if we received your ballot, we can do that to you. We'll have a master list that we'll assign a number to based on your name or lot number. And you can say, here's my number, show me where my ballot came in, show me where you erased everything and put everything to vote for different people. Does everybody like that idea?
Yes.
All right. Yep. And I'd like to make a motion that sometime within the next month, we'll set up and arrange a meeting time so that we can do a vote count on it, or a recount on it, just to take a look and verify everything on it.
I second that motion.
Are you gonna see if anybody's actually interested in doing that first, Bill?
Just show of hands, someone want to see that?
Okay, so you've got a couple. All right, we've got a motion, we got a second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, and thank you for volunteering to do that.
Yes.
Moving on to legal update. Oh,
Before you move on, can I
yeah,
The company that you hired, PBS, had no problem getting to me the information on all my banking information, et cetera. But somehow when it came to my lot fees and my voting, it didn't arrive. I live in California and I don't go over often, although I will be coming over much more often now. I didn't leave till March 7th because of illness. So it still wasn't out to me on March 7th. I got over here, I got a post office box, I had everything sent, still wasn't here. I was disenfranchised from voting entirely, and ended up having to make a check out for what I thought would be the correct lot fees. I did get an apology from Mr. Maxwell and PBS, but it still didn't mean I got to vote. So I wonder how many other people in the community have been disenfranchised.
I understand your frustration. I would recommend that you keep an eye on the website, BVIA, that Will maintains, and it has information on what's going on. We put a lot of information out both in the auxiliary newsletter, which you can get Bobby to send to you, but there was quite a bit of information that went out. These elections are not easy. This was kind of a hybrid because we had to take our old way of doing things and try to merge it into the way that PDS does things. But I would
How did that keep the company from sending me the proper information? I didn't even get lot fee information. They had my correct address, obviously.
It's your responsibility to call them. Our dues are due April every single year. It's never changed. So we can't call every single resident out 364 lots and say, hey, we're just babysitting you. Did you get your information in the mail? It's your responsibility to call and say, call Mark, look on the website, and look for it.
We're paying this company money, right?
Correct?
And they were supposed to have all of our information, I mean, they certainly gave me the information when they wanted all my banking information. Aren't they supposed to be handing that out? Did everybody else not get theirs from this company?
The people who did contacted us and said, where is mine? And it turned out that they had the wrong mailing address. It's not up to us to get your change of address, it's up to you to give us your change of
There
address.
was no change of address.
Mark, if I could interrupt. Yeah. Well, I understand what you're saying, but I think it's also important to note that this past election had, by a significant margin, the most number of responses than in any previous election in the last 7 years that I've been involved in. So the question about widespread disenfranchisement doesn't really fly when we had a record number of votes come in.
I didn't say there was widespread, but I had heard other people talking, overheard other people talking that their address was just enough different that it might be misdirected.
I understand, and I see how it affected you, but I want the rest of the folks who are in attendance today and whoever watches the video to also keep in mind that this last election was the highest number of responses that we've ever had.
I get that, but if you're hiring a company, they need to be able to do what they're hired to do. And that didn't happen. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Legal update, not a whole lot to say. The water company attorney had filed a motion to stay. That was denied. But it's basically still proceeding, but slowly. A lot of these motions just delay the ultimate decision by the judge and the courts. But we are moving forward, and I believe there's a chance that this could go to appeal because the water company attorney is not happy with the Superior Court decisions that have come from Gila County, but there's really been no change at this point. Sarah, you want the mic?
I can talk loud. Can you guys hear me?
Treasurer's report.
All right. Total operating funds right now, we have in total assets $96,797.18. Our income over the last month was $44,414.16. That included $43,952 in membership dues and fees. We did collect $120 in collection income. I know we're in talks to collect some bigger amounts with some of the other people that's going through our collection service. Our total legal fees were $5,601.22. Our normal administration expenses were $3,163.67. Utilities, $162.74. Our income minus expenses was $35,222.37. I did print out several of these reports that includes all of our checks written for the month. It's also on the website.
The only thing I would add to that is our aging summary for people who have not paid their dues. Last month, which nobody was late when we had the annual meeting, but it has grown from a total of $6,500 that we were owed and had been working on to now it is $14,500. So a number of our neighbors, I would guess there's probably 30 or so, 40, did not pay their dues. So we will continue working on that through PDS to try to get some money put together for other projects like paving. But if you didn't pay, please pay. There will be late fees, and at some point it goes to collections.
Motion to accept the treasurer's report.
A motion, I would accept a motion to accept the treasurer's report. Thank you. All in favor? Sarah, would you like to give us an update on the audit?
I will. Okay, so I signed an intent for audit with Butler and Hanson. I'm waiting for them to give us our initial questionnaire and the request for documents. It'll be for the 2020 fiscal year, right? Or ending
2021.
Yeah,
April 20
April 20 to April 21.
March
21.
31st.
So I'm waiting for their questionnaire. In the meantime, we had started the idea of an audit back in 2019, and Butler and Hanson was the company that we had engaged for that. They had sent us a questionnaire for that, and so I sent that. We had a couple of volunteers that were, wanted to be a part of the audit committee to make sure that we set the parameters, that it didn't become too unwieldy or too expensive if it wasn't beyond our scope of what was a concern. So I sent them that questionnaire, and Tom Winkleman and Anthony Moncayo agreed to be a part of it. I also forwarded it to a few members from the quote-unquote alliance to make sure that we were addressing any of their concerns. So the questionnaire seemed pretty straightforward. It addresses all of those things. A couple of members that were from the alliance wanted to audit us back for the last 5 years. My thoughts on that and my statements to them was, if you remember back from November, I think it was the November meeting of 2020, our treasurer at that point balked at the cost that the audit was starting to cost us. It was going upwards of $5,000 because not only was Butler and Hanson going to charge us something around $3,000, $3,200 for a full audit, but on top of that, we were going to have to pay our bookkeeper, we were going to have to pay for all kinds of extra fees to do all the research. It was approaching $5,000, and our treasurer at the time raised a fuss, didn't want to do it, wanted other bids from other auditors, and so that audit was shut down. So members that have all these concerns in the last 5 years, if we were to do that, it's gonna cost at least $5,000 a year. So we're looking at a $25,000 a year, $25,000 cost if we were to audit for the last 5 years. I don't think that we as a general membership are ready to approve such a cost. I do have access to all of the books, I have access to all of the bank statements, I have access to all of the checks. I'm willing to share them with everybody, anybody that wants them. I know Mark shared them with people that had concerns, so that if you want to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, I'll help you do it. If you want to hire your own accountant to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, I'll help you do it. But for now, we're just going to start fresh. We're going to start with an audit. Butler and Hanson also sent me the definitions of the difference between a compilation review and an audit, something that we're required by our bylaws to do every year. For the last 4 years, we've been doing a compilation. Every April, we give you our entire financial report. That's what our accountant uses, that then we file a tax return with. From here on out, I would suggest that we use an outside accounting firm rather than an accountant that's here in Cedar Valley just for independence, which is Butler and Hanson's recommendation. So again, we've done a lot of things that have created precedents. From here on out, this board we just want to do it right, and we want to avoid any perception of anything wrong. So I'm an open book. I've got full access to QuickBooks. I can't touch it. It's read-only, so I can't go in and alter it or anything. But I have full access. If you want me to, I'll open it up. I'll show you the books for the last 5, 7 years, whatever you want. So.
Is there a timeline for the audit completion?
They haven't given me anything yet, so I'm waiting for Butler and Hanson, hoping to do that. But the members of the audit committee, they seem fine with an initial questionnaire. So I'll follow that.
Looks like a volunteer right there.
Yeah.
I volunteered most of my life. I've done 50 years of volunteer work, no more.
Okay, thank you, Sarah.
I have a comment, and I'm sure that this was your intent. What was done in the past was right, in most of our opinion. It was above board, it was honest. Everything at that time was posted on the the bulletin boards as well as online. So what you're saying is we're not going forward doing it right, we're just making it so that there's no culpability here. And so that from the outside looking in, if there are any questions, you can't point fingers. So the sad thing is it's a lot more expensive than what having to pay to.
And, you know, so Tom Winkleman is one of the audit committee members. He is the CEO of a nonprofit down in the valley, and he's really a wealth of information, you know, as far as just general, how to avoid any type of issues like this. So for his nonprofit, I think he does it every 3 years, but I would say every 5 years we should do a complete audit. I mean, it's gonna cost us $3,500. But just work it into our budget, just do it, you know, and then in the meantime, the fact that we have now an outside accounting firm that does not have any hands in Beaver Valley. We've all agreed that Butler and Hanson seems like they've got their stuff together. I think from here on out, there's no fingers to be pointed, so.
Patrick?
Yes, I'd just like to point out something here. Reading from the Beaver Valley Bulletin, Volume 15, Number 1, January, February 2015. This is from Ann, the BVIA president at the time. She said, I would first like to take a minute to retract a word used to describe the vote on bylaws and articles in my article last month. The sentence said, quote, the bylaws passed unanimously, the articles did not, end quote. I would like to change that or correct it to say, quote, the bylaws passed overwhelmingly and the articles did not pass, end quote. Please see the numbers at the end of this article for more details. So you go down and you look at the numbers she provided. The number of lots, 363. Number of lots in good standing, 320. The number of yes votes, 146. No votes, 36. Now, if my math is correct, half of 320 is 160. 146 is not a majority, it's not unanimous. Apparently, it didn't pass in 2017.
People that voted, not the people, it's the number.
This is why we need a CPA to do this. I don't want to hear your explanation for it. I don't want to hear her explanation for it. I want to hear a CPA's explanation.
Thank you. Okay,
Thank you,
Chief
Deputy Labonte as well. Okay, we got some more work to do. Building plans. The board has seen building plans submitted at the annual meeting by Jimmy Ledke. I think everybody's looked at them. Rick pointed out that it appeared from the paperwork that he was going to build on lot 29, which already has a house. But other than that, the one he's going to build looks pretty nice, and I think it meets all the requirements. So I'm looking for a motion to approve those building plans, other than the fact that he needs to move it to lot 31.
I'll make the motion to accept the building plans for lot 31.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Are the Reniers here?
No.
Okay. You covering for them?
I can.
Okay. The Reniers want to add a deck onto their house. I think that got sent out by Bill.
Yeah.
Porch, really, I guess.
Yeah, it's a covered patio on it. They have submitted plans. The plans were approved by the county. They made some changes on it to make sure everything's up to spec, so.
Yeah. Motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the change.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay, very good. Correspondence? None that I can think of right now. Had a little help with the emergency exit. Have not been billed for the archaeological study, but it appears that's moving along. Thank you, Chief, for the update. In fact, you can do the next agenda if you'd like to. The meeting is going to be in June if you're willing to come handle it. Okay, roads and grounds. Bill, you probably wanted to talk about pothole repairs and potential other work.
I think we've got pretty much 90% of the potholes fixed on it. Anything that's left over should be just little ones that we're waiting to get bigger so we can do a better patch on it. The sides of the roads, are the ones that is hurting the most because it's wearing away. For us to keep doing it, we can do it, it's just gonna keep eating away though. So we started looking at, trying to get a long-term plan. I'm guessing, I just did some quick estimates on it just to see what it would cost because I had no idea. If we did the whole 3 miles, it would run probably about $150,000 to chip seal it and do the repairs that need to be done. Mile of time would run 60 to 70,000. I'm gonna guess we're not gonna get money ahead of time to be able to do that. So we need to come up with some kind of plan to do it maybe in 5 years, 4 years, whatever we need to do to allocate money to get it done. Obviously, if we do it a little bit at a time, it's gonna cost more. And if that's what we wanna keep doing, that's fine. So we're trying to come up with a plan. Rick's agreed to help try and come up with some ideas, what we need to do. I mean, we can keep patching it, but eventually it's gonna need to be chip sealed completely on it. So, chip seal. Yeah. Yep. So we'll look at all the different options on it, but one person I was talking to, he was saying for chip sealing, and he can, come up with better pricing if we tie it into projects that he's got where he's bringing a crew up anyway. So there's a lot of things we can look at.
This guy from Phoenix or here?
Comes out of Phoenix.
Okay, thank you.
I'd just like to have a comment.
All right, Patrick.
The last homeowners association I was a member of and spent 9 years on the board, we had our own streets we had to take care of as well. It's a nightmare. But what we did was we set up reserves. So every year we put aside so much money so that after 5 years when we needed the chip sealing, we had the money there to do it. We didn't have to access everybody or all of a sudden try to come up with the money. So my suggestion would be you set up a reserve study, put so much money aside every year so that when we get to that point, we've got the money, we don't have to come up with it.
Okay, good suggestion.
I think we're trying to do that with different projects on it. Say, how much do we need for roads, how much do we need for other signs, anything related to what we have to come up with.
That would be a particularly big expense.
Crossings are, I mean, a separate line item, same way, because they're expensive and you take care of it.
Okay, I didn't have any old business. New business, we did receive a request from a homeowner over in Unit 4 on Birdie Circle, wanting to remove a tree that is a problem for him or her getting in and out of their driveway. I think everybody saw that information.
That's me. I got a hold of Mike, the water guy, and he okayed it. Just cut it to the ground level.
Okay.
And don't be ripping up things to do it.
That was my biggest concern, because there's a water line there somewhere, and so I think if you can get it down where you can pick some gravel over it or something like that.
That's the line.
Okay, and Alan, in the back, I'm guessing based on the logs out here that you're still cutting wood, and that's why you were concerned about the sign saying no chainsaws, right?
No, I'm not cutting anymore. I just saw that, I said charcoal and chainsaws, I'm like, there are no restrictions right now.
Yeah, the problem with charcoal, this is a quick backup, but the problem with charcoal, it's hard to put out. It'll stay hot for a long time.
But it's not, there's no restrictions right now, so.
I know, but I put the sign
If
down.
someone has a barbecue, a charcoal grill out there and cooking hamburgers, I just thought, if they went to charcoal, what? I sent that picture to my wife.
Well, you know what they do with it afterwards, they dump it on the ground after the burgers are done. So anyhow, we need a motion to agree to removal of that tree cleanly without hopefully getting into a water line or anything else. Sorry that it's been a problem for you. Not a bad tree, just in the wrong spot.
Too many close calls.
Okay.
Motion to
All right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Thank you for asking. Okay, also, this was not on the agenda, but at the end of the last meeting, one of our members said that the tennis net at the tennis court, pickleball court, is in pretty bad shape, so we went over and looked at it, and it is in pretty bad shape. So, I think it will cost us $300 roughly roughly under $400 to get a new tennis net. I don't know how many people are playing.
Genevieve's gonna try to repair it.
Is she?
Yes.
Genevieve? Is she going to get out there with her knitting needles? And it's actually the tape across the top that is all rotted. So that's a little more difficult because it's cracked. Jim can probably... Okay, well, that's all right with me, but I don't know if it'll work with the tape that holds it to the cable going across. So perhaps, if you'll let us know, but if we can get approval to spend up to $400 for one, if Genevieve can't repair it, and that way it won't take another month as we, can I get a motion to do that? Is there a second? So, yes.
Does that not come out of the auxiliary? Because Bobby was all upset like a year ago saying, you're not asking us for help, we wanna help maintain all this stuff. And the idea I got from it is that's an auxiliary.
It could be. Albert, you got a comment?
It actually can come out of the auxiliary. We have a soda machine sitting here that's collecting money and going into the auxiliary. I'll talk to Bobby about that. And I don't think there'll be a problem. We can buy a brand new unit.
I think I see a treasurer here.
I think that's definitely auxiliary.
Okay, well, cancel that motion then. Ann has
I
done...
don't know. On the motion for us to spend the money because the auxiliary's good.
Okay. All right. Ann has done a little research into nets, but certainly you can. I tasted off last night. I believe it's 40 foot across. Standard tennis net may be 42, but somebody ought to measure it and make sure you know post to post how much space is there. We'll turn it over to the auxiliary if that's okay. Patrick, you got a comment?
Yeah, how is the auxiliary different from the alliance?
Well, they're two different organizations.
They're not a corporate entity, but a group of people.
Well, are they an organized group or what?
Well, they don't get a say in the meetings of what the board does.
What, don't they contribute a lot of money to you guys?
No, to the community.
Well, now, for the 3 years that I took care of the park and the Coke machine and everything, every time I ran into an expense, I didn't bring it to you guys, I took it to them. Why don't you guys cover that expense?
Those are their things. Why would we?
So the auxiliary is in charge of the park and stuff?
Really, Patrick?
I'm sorry?
Mary Pat and Kevin bought that machine.
For the auxiliary.
For the auxiliary.
The Coke machine?
Yes.
Okay, so, and they bought the lawnmower?
The lawnmower was bought, I don't know, that was
Years
way
ago.
before I was.
And the weed eater?
Wait.
That stuff's been here
For
for over
years.
15 years.
Seems like a conflict of interest that the auxiliary can have say in everything, and we can't have a say.
They don't have a say.
Okay, we're moving on.
Yeah.
Wait. I've got two other things, and these were comments made to me today. One is about tree trimming, not out in the river area, but on some of the corners. And I know tree trimming is an issue, but I need someone to look at that and come up with an estimate, or volunteers to try to clear the any blocked views going around corners in the neighborhood. Dano was the one who brought it up, but I don't see his hand going up yet. So, is anybody willing to take that on and kind of a drive around and say, okay, little map? Nobody?
I'll do it, and I'll appoint Dano as part, since he's part of the committee to
Thank
do
you,
it.
Bill.
Bill, also check with Dick Heichberger, because he's talked to me about our corner. He's got his little grandsons riding around on stuff, so he's pretty aware. I'm sure he'd help you out too.
Okay.
He's offered his chainsaw.
Yeah, well, we can still use them. I'll put the sign back. Second one, building use. We have had requests to use this building in the past, and certainly we would like for neighbors to be able to use the building, but we really don't have any rules for use of the building, including things like alcohol, bathrooms, cleanup, all of that. I need a committee that wants to work on trying to come up with a plan for use of this building long term. just a second, I see two, just a second, I see a third.
Diane's got a hand up.
Okay.
There we go.
Would you guys work on what you think is a good draft plan for how we should utilize building, including use by members, because we can't just open it up for people. There needs to be someone monitoring to make sure that nothing bad goes on and that parties don't get out of hand. I mean, the idea of using it for a baby shower or something, I think is a great idea, as long as there's not shotguns going off shooting at balloons or anything like that. So, if you guys would do that, that would be great.
Mark, on that line, since it's my neighbor that's gonna have a baby here, and she wants it in July, it would be at daytime, so she's thinking like 1 to 5, which I think she's crazy in July, but, it might be a good test case with the committee to help organize it. She just needs to know if she can, or if we're gonna wait till everything else gets approved, but, yeah.
Mary Pat, can you guys try to get something together by the next meeting or before? You and Lois? Chief?
The fire district has something similar set up for the use of our public facilities. If an organization wants to use one of our fire stations for a get-together or whatever, we've already been run through an attorney, so I can send you a copy of what we have.
If you'll do that, I'll forward it to the team and
We'll have a
committee.
template, and I'm not saying ours is the best, but it may save some time and work on your part.
That would be wonderful. Okay, thank you very much. Marcia?
I want to back up to the tennis court net. We have seen kids sitting on it, stretch it, whatever. We've gone out, asked them, don't do that. But my recommendation is if you're going to put money into a new one, that you reference, don't swing on the net or whatever, we're spending money to put it in the net, so put it in our newsletter, or we're already on sign overload that nobody reads.
Okay.
But, you know.
Mary Pat?
I already volunteered.
Okay, well, whoever's working on the net with Albert and everybody else, you know, it wouldn't be hard to put a note in the auxiliary newsletter, but 3-year-old kids probably don't read it, but it's not a bad idea, but maybe their parents will. Yeah. Okay, I think we're done. Oh, Rob Burko.
Yeah, I would like to buy a ping pong table and keep it here at the community center. And, you know, we can mess around with it.
I think it's a great idea.
Can you buy a pool table too, please?
Yeah. It's gonna have to be a lightweight one. We'll have to be able to move it, so
it's
start with a ping pong.
thing that'll fold up and be out of the way and stuff like that.
That'd be great.
And, you know, you bring your own paddle, your own balls and stuff, and walk the play.
I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
You're willing to do it, or do you want help from the
No,
auxiliary?
I'll take care of it.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Question, since January, in every newsletter, you're mentioning the good people of Beaver Valley. I'd like a list of those people.
I think everybody in Beaver Valley is a good person.
But the way you say it, it's like there's bad people too, and, you know, everybody has a right to an opinion, and
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for coming.